Bobby, make certain there's no umpire bashing, because here's our first guest. Have a look at this caricature here. Look at that moustache. Look at that mop of hair. Have a look at this Carlton emblem there. Do you know who that is?
I certainly do. I went up to watch him at the Ballarat High School in the middle of a shocking winter. As a matter of fact, just the other day I was watching the thing of Georgie Best, and they sent a telegram from Ireland saying, I've discovered a genius. It was Georgie Best. People from Ballarat rang me up and said, we've discovered this ethnic Croatian called Vladimir Perovic. He can kick a ball 100 yards in his bare feet. And I missed him by about that much. Is that right, Vladimir?
And it's a big welcome to Val Perovic, two grumpy old men.
Thank you. Too kind, Bobby.
Yeah,
Well, Val,
on you, Val.
it sounds like you must have been a superstar as a young boy playing up at Ballarat.
Well, you know, rumours in the bush sort of get a bit disorientated and whatever, but I wouldn't say... I actually wore thongs in winter.
Oh, that's right, you had thongs.
I never went around barefooted too much, mate. I wasn't that stupid, Bobby.
Actually, there was always that joke that Val Perovic was looking for his lost thong.
I'm still looking for the other one, actually, a few years down the track.
How did you finish up at St Kilda? Were you zoned to St Kilda in those days from Ballarat?
Yes, well, we're going back a few years now. Of course, every club had their metropolitan and country zone, and Ballarat area was St Kilda's. And so they were wonderful years, the early years there. I really enjoyed it enormously. It was good.
Well, St Kilda in those days were a side down near the bottom of the ladder, so there weren't too many wins.
Well, that's correct, but I was very fortunate. I came down in the middle of 73 or 74 season, I think, KB, and I didn't know how to left foot. Anyway, so I was quite fortunate to play in the finals that season, and that was the year George Young came over, and we had a fairly good side, but there was some barren years after that, yes.
Is that the day you played full back, Val on Calvin Tevlin? You kicked 15 that day, Calvin.
No, hang on.
You never?
I'll put my hand up here. I was one of the few. I think he kicked only 2 on me, actually, so, yeah, so...
That was 14 and 15. Is that right, Val? Who played on him that day?
I can't recall. I did. It was Russell Tweedale there, another famous face from Ballarat.
Yeah, Ballarat boy.
He did, yeah, he was a bit of a journeyman, a bit like myself, but that was the sort of game you forget for you'd like to forget for the wrong reason.
Well, we just saw big Carl Dittrich in the screen there. What was he like? He only a young bloke going to St Kilda?
Well, like I said, I mean, they were wonderful years because I was only a young fella from Ballarat, and there was no money, there was no politics, and you really did play for the love of the game. And here I am playing with the Carl Dittriches of the world, and it was just a wonderful experience. Yeah.
What about the culture at Moorabbin? It was seen as a party club. Did you get involved in much of that, or was that just before they really went down that track?
I've never been a sort of party animal. Contrary to what rumour has it.
What about the record, Val? Sorry, Tone.
Yeah.
I shot 15 cans one day. Now, you hold the record. What is the record that you shot one day? What was that again at the Emerald in South Melbourne?
You just gave me a headache again. Every time I get up, I get a shot headache for some reason.
What was it again?
They had a can every year.
I can't recall exactly.
68, someone told me.
It's bigger and bigger every year. No, I can't recall exactly, but it was a numeral.
Val, tell us how a Croatian boy in Ballarat suddenly became a league footballer. Was football your first game, or were you a soccer boy as a little kid, or what happened?
Well, we emigrated in the late 50s. I was about 3 or 4 years of age.
Yeah.
I went straight to junior school, primary school in Ballarat, and St Kilda School, actually,
yeah.
and, where Mickey Mollhouse, I think, originated from, and played football, but lost interest at the age of about 14. I went and played soccer for a couple of years,
yeah.
and got bored of that, so I walked in at North Ballarat one day, and a pair of boots, and yeah, I was quite fortunate to get a few games there, and but never had any ambitions, Bob. No, not real ambitions to play league football. No.
What about the Ballarat connection? Gee, some great players: Danny Frawley, the Cunninghams, Jeff Dunn.
Yes, it's been a good nursery. It's been a wonderful nursery, actually. And there's guys like Eric Clark and Stewie Gold, maybe slightly less alike, but still very good footballers in their own way.
Plugger's not Ballarat.
No, but no, it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful recruiting area for well, football in general, not just St Kilda in that time.
There was one fella came down in 48 from Ballarat.
Who was that, Bobby?
Oh, Bobby yourself.
Oh, you came from Clunes, Bobby.
Ballarat, I was the star of Ballarat League, I'll have you know.
Have a look at the size of
Golden Point
Val
champion.
Perovic.
Golden Point, that's
Point,
right,
Bobby.
Val, that's right.
Now, Val must be about, what, 6'3"?
Yes.
So when you started playing AFL football, you started as a wingman.
I did. That's correct.
To be the
Yes.
tallest wingman that's ever played.
Yeah, well, maybe I was a bit slower in that time. I don't know, but hang on, I shouldn't say that. We had Jeff Ablett running around then, I think. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was quite an unfamiliar because I came from the ruck. I played in the ruck at North Ballarat, and to go from the ruck to wingman was a real shock.
Big
yes.
change.
Yeah,
But
huge
finally,
change.
you finished up as a key position player with St Kilda and played for Victoria.
Yeah, quite fortunate. It wasn't until Mike Patterson actually came to St Kilda that he gave me a opportunity to play in a key position, and it's something that I'm really grateful for. I always will be forever grateful to Swampy. He passed away, I hear, last year, which I was
Yes, you did, sadly.
very sad to hear that. But yeah, so I was fortunate enough to finish my career at centre half-back, which I was very happy
You
about.
had a big trip over to Western Australia, didn't you, when they played with the Vic too?
Many years ago, Bob, yes.
What do you
How was that?
81?
81, I think, I recollect. There was the days when there was about an anti-strike every 2 weeks, I think, and we unfortunately were scheduled to play Western Australia in a state game, and Brucey Doolittle pulled out at the last minute, and I was called, fortunately enough, called it to come and play. And
Where were you, Val, when you got called? Were you having a bit of a,
hang on. I was in that pub,
Don't
actually. I was going to say that. I hate that people get the wrong impression about me, but...
Character assassination,
Yeah,
Dougie.
no,
What's
look-
going on?
you relaxed
Long story short, Brucey Dill pulled out at the last minute, and I got a phone call from Shane O'Sullivan at Poydens Hotel that he got pulled out, and I was actually going to the Bluebirds party. I think one of the girls had a birthday party.
Well, just on that, Val, of course, you're playing at Carlton then. So how did you go from St Kilda to Carlton?
Well, I actually had it's well documented now, but I had a falling out with Lindsay Fox
Over what?
many years ago. Over the issue of moving to Melbourne.
So he
I
took over as president of St Kilda.
That's correct, yes.
You lived in Ballarat and he said
Yes.
that you'd have to come and live in Melbourne.
Well, that was the proviso, yes. And I actually went around Australia just at the conclusion of the '79 season, and because I had a falling out with the club then as well. So, but I got back and had a letter there from the committee to say that I had to front the new committee, Jimmy Guyot and Lindsay Fox, who I'd never met before, but he laid down the ultimatum that we had to move down. And before I left to go away, I said to my brother that I started business with him, and that was my prime concern. It was always family, and you know. And it was a stalemate. So I put in a clearance to go to Geelong, actually, Bobby, as you're well aware, and had some dealings with Bill McMaster and a few chaps in Ballarat, and right until the...
Right up until the last...
death night.
Was Bobby
That's right.
negotiating with you at that stage? Because Bobby's got a record as being a top negotiator. But all those guys across from Western Australia, Dennis Marshall, of course, and Polly Farmer, for plenty of money. How much money did he offer you, Val?
Money was an issue, actually.
Yes, but Bobby had money to offer.
Did he? I wish I had known that then.
Well, that's against his reputation then, Bobby. You've missed him twice.
Oh,
You missed
no,
him from Ballarat and then you missed him
Oh, no, we couldn't steal him from Ballarat, but, you know, it was just a delight to go and watch him play as a young fella, quite genuinely. I mean,
Too kind,
and
Bobby,
that's
too
no, they're the truth. I mean, if you're a football man and people say this kid can play, you just go and watch him and make your own assessment. And, you know, there was no doubt that he could
How
play.
do you feel now, Val? Like, do you think Lindsay was right? Like, it's pretty hard to run a footy club when you're living in Ballarat and you have to train
Well,
down. Or...
Funny enough, I did finish up coming down when I went to Carlton, but at the time, my family was my first concern. That was my brother and whatever. I got him set up, and he's worked well over the years, and that was it was all about timing.
Yeah, right.
I was prepared to compromise. I was prepared to travel down 3 nights a week for training, but it wasn't good enough for Mr. Fox.
Well, the great
so-
Gentelenko, of course, went to St Kilda.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
that-
another
you were
point.
part of the swap.
Well, I wasn't aware of it until I read in the paper, so I wasn't too happy with, well, you know, a few people. I won't mention names now, but I was very blessed to, well, now in hindsight, I was very fortunate. to
Well,
be
let's
on
have a look at Val
Carlton.
Perovic playing for the Mighty Blues and, of course, playing in 2 premierships. Might tell us some of these great players because it was a star-studded side at Carlton. Number
Just
5,
going
that'd be
out to the
Kenny
boundary.
Sheldon, a young Kenny Sheldon.
Young Bomber, yeah, when he had hair.
There's Peter McConville, 33.
Greggy Wells from Melbourne.
Yeah,
Greg Wells came across and played.
And here he comes. Now, were you a dual footer all the time, Val, or what?
I beg your pardon, Bob?
A dual footer. Could you kick both feet?
I mean, that came from my years playing soccer, I think, Bobby,
Yeah.
yeah. Not that I was a very good left foot kick, but definitely the soccer helped, yes.
Yeah.
But you'd be a modern day player, Val, because you're 6'3", you're quick, obviously good on both sides, plenty of evasion skills, good with your hands. You might have been ahead of your time.
Well, I'm not sure about that, KB, but I don't think I'll be able to keep up with some of the athletes today, KB.
Could you accept the training today? That would be a bit of a trick for you, Val.
Well, put it this way, Bob, I had to do, I did as much as I had to do, I think. Put it that way.
This was a great side, and this was a big grand final.
Old Shark, yes.
Playing with Bruce Dill, 2 down that back line, Val, have been great.
Very privileged, Dougie, yes. Fantastic. Not only a great footballer, but a terrific person. Well, Jeff Southby, I mean, very privileged.
Jimmy Buckley and Kenny Sheldon, them sort of boys.
Oh, just wonderful, wonderful.
That was one of Tony Shaw's kicks then, I reckon. That went 60 metres, 30 up and 30 down.
What about the professionalism at the Blues to the Saints? Was there, can you say there was a total difference?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Sure, yes. While, you know, Carlton have always prided themselves on their professionalism and their administration's always... Oh, hang on a minute.
You don't want to get it.
I don't want to get it.
What about Johnny Elliott?
Now, can I just say this, Tony? In fact, on my radio show on Sport 927 during the breakfast show, I had a phone call last week from Val, and he came on and lambasted John Elliott. He felt that he wore... First of all, he wore the tie, didn't he, on television, which the Carlton tie, which was upsetting, you thought. This was on Channel 9 with Eddie Maguire and Sam
This
Newman.
was after he'd been officially...
Gone, yes, and he came out and spoke for the first time, and he also thought he should have his life membership taken off him. Now, Dougie Hawkins believes his grump before the game, before the show, was that people have been too hard on John Elliott.
Well...
Do you want to whack him? Do a Gordon tell us.
Oh, I've got very strong views on that, KB, and like I said on the radio, I haven't had too many situations where I've been politically involved, and I've been reading a bit in the papers over the last 6 months about the actual demise of the institution, and I just felt that, for my own personal point of view, I had to say something, because I believe that he's a man that lost all privileges. Now, I think Dougie intimated that, and so does Shore, that he's a man that's given 20-odd years of good service. But I use the analogy, you know, tell it to the Quintex shareholders, or to the Laurie Connells, or the Alan Bonds, you know, who had wonderful years but then lost it all. I mean, I just don't believe that one man has got the right, any individual, to run a people's club the way John did. And,
he didn't know though, Val, remember that?
Of course, yeah. It's like the memory, a bit like Bondi. But I mean, you know, we are talking about institution here. Okay,
what about the name, Val? Taking the name from the grandstand. You don't agree with that, or you do agree with the name coming off it?
Most definitely, and like I was about to say, I would personally like to say that I'd be happy if his name, if his membership was revoked. And I believe the whole committee, the whole board should as well, because they're all accountable.
Gee, there's some great names involved there.
Well, irrespective. You know, it's not about them, sure, it's about the people. I was down in Tassie just long ago, and the feedback I kept getting is, oh, what's happened to our once mighty club? I go to Darwin, I get the same feedback all the time. So there's a lot of people out there who are very hurt, very hurt by it.
Val, when you were playing, and perhaps when we were all playing, perhaps not sure so much, but you give the impression that it was a genuine love of the game that kept you in the game more than anything else. Now, do you think that today's players feel the same about John Elliott? You feel it because he's destroyed your club. The ones that play today, do you think they play for Carlton, or they play for Collingwood, or do they play because it's their career?
Oh, I would unashamedly say, there's one particular, during this long drawn-out saga of the Carlton Football Club, it was when Collo first took over, and he announced a 15% pay cut. Now, it took 2 or 3 weeks, I think, before
they accepted
there's a resolution. Now, I would guarantee you that if you speak to a lot of players in my era, there wouldn't have been any question about it. So that's all I can say. They would have accepted it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened when you played. It was quite historic because it was in a grand final, and a girl ran onto the field, Val.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't Jason Val.
Someone said it was a good tactic by David Parker, and there she is, Helen D'Amico.
Oh, yes. Good memories there, KB. Especially for WOW. I mean, WOW, Well, I was having a better on Mark Lee at that stage, but I think he lost concentration for about 10 minutes after that.
Well, you can see there she was a magnificent blonde or brunette,
Was she?
depending where you're
recall.
looking at the time.
I had my eye on the ball all the time.
Wasn't a natural, was she, Val? Wasn't a natural blonde.
I said to you, I can't recall.
So look at these highlights here of this game. This is the grand final.
Yeah.
This is the 1982 grand
Have a look
final.
at number 32. He's very interested.
That's David Glascott.
Oh, David Glasgow.
And of course you can see there, there's
Jeff
Kenny
Raines
Sheldon, there's Robert Wiley's just hit the turf.
Barry Rowling.
Very wrong.
Now Jimmy Buckley, now he could play.
Yes, very
Beautiful
nice
kick.
player, Jimmy.
What about when you kick well? They used to yell out the crowd was it a woof? A woof.
Well, I thought it was something else for a while there. I was a bit concerned, actually, Dougie, but...
How did it start, Val?
Oh, look, I'd love to have $1 for every time I've been asked that question. But,
You don't know?
but funny enough, I was in Melbourne not long ago, and I seem to think it started when we played Geelong one game at Optus Oval and Princess Park, I think it was Princess Park, Optus Oval, what they call it these days. I remember getting the ball on the press box wing, and there used to be a fanatical or parochial uni mob there, and it was the dying minutes of the game, and I think we had your measure again, Bobby, anyway.
Again, I like that bit again, yeah.
So the punch had gone into the game, and I couldn't get the ball on the wing and heard a sound similar to a woof.
Yeah.
Anyway, and years down the track, people have owned up to it, but I ran to a chap not long ago, and he said, remember that day we played Geelong on the press box wing? I was a group of guys, we did that, and I can sort of give credence to that, I think, yeah. So for what reason, I don't know.
Well, did you play with the Buzz? Was the Buzz there when you were...
Buzz was there, I had the
was
pleasure.
the Buzz, was he?
He was
He was a bit
fantastic.
flamboyant, was he, the Buzz?
A little bit eccentric, I suppose, Buzz man, but he was a wonderful player.
Yeah.
He's one of the hardest forwards that used to work both ways. I think in tackles alone, this is one, apart from his high mark and kicking goals, David Parkin was very happy about the fact that he worked both ways. He had 28 tackles one game, which was phenomenal for a forward, you know.
Well, he must have got a bit volatile because he went back to Western Australia, didn't he? And he came off one of the games there and got a bit annoyed and put his hand through the plate glass window and couldn't move his arm for about 18 months.
That's correct, yeah.
For the Buzz. But he was a
his own
spectacular
man.
mark, wasn't he?
He was his own man.
He was a great mark, wasn't he?
A great footballer.
Well,
he really was.
His
It was a
father
pleasure to
played
play
for
with the
Carlton,
man.
wore number 4.
That's
That's
right.
correct, yeah.
Buzz himself wore number 4, and I think he's got a young boy who's coming through in WA, which he hopes can come across here and play for Carlton as well.
Would you be there the day when he not only got the mark of the year, he got the goal of the year, he did everything, didn't
Well, to give a bit of insight on his personality, we were in the showers that day, and he said, just got a daily double.
The daily
I said,
double.
I beg your pardon, because he has been known as a bit of a punter.
Yeah.
We thought he got the racing double, you know. I said, oh, what did they pay? Buzz? He said, no, mark of the year and the goal of the year, daily double. He's one he's a character.
Yeah,
He's a
that's
character.
right, that's right.
There's not many left.
No, it's...
It's gone, Val, isn't it? It's all
Well,
your character. It's all gone
no
now.
characters.
I don't watch much football these days, Dougie, but, you know, Jacko, like, love or hate him, he was wonderful with the game, and anybody that says he wasn't is a liar or is just jealous of him, and he was just terrific. You know...
Who was the best player you played on, Val?
Oh, gee, very hard question there,
You would have played
KB.
on some great centre-half forwards.
Oh, Bernie Quinlan, as one comes to mind.
Did you play on Phil Carman?
Well, yes. Actually, probably the hardest player I played on. Yeah, on his day.
Yeah.
I can recall playing on him at Waterloo one day, and
Do you have the white boots on?
he did, Bobby, and he kicked 5 goals on me till half time. And of course, when you're down, you reassess and you try to play from behind and in front. I tried everything. Lucky he went off with a crook ankle at half time, but he was fit enough the following week. I think they played an interstate game and kicked 8 goals or something. So that was the mark of the man. He was brilliant on his day.
What about the wing when you first started, Val? I mean, there was Keith Gregg, Robert Flower, Mickey Turner, Ricky Barham, some terrific, you know, wingers, Jeff Cunningham.
Yes.
Some great wingers going around. Would you play
Dick
on?
Clay. Dick Clay,
yeah, Francis Burt.
Francis
Brian
Burt,
Wood,
yeah,
Brian Wood. Brian
wonderful era for wingmen, and Ken Fletcher, I
Kenny Fletcher.
took Kenny Fletcher a fair few times, and Jeff Fablet, couldn't run much.
Dan Alves as well.
Just before we go to the break.
Wonderful time.
Just before we go to the break, 1977, the closing minutes of the last game of the home and away season. A little bald-headed bloke ran out from forward pocket and took a mark about 20 metres out down at the punt road end, and then his lights went out. He was knocked out cold about 25 seconds after he took the mark. I was doing up my shoelaces at the time, and when I woke up, the man reporter standing over me was one Val Perovic.
Oh, gee.
What happened there, Val? I'd love to know.
Actions do happen, I guess. I don't know, but all I can remember was the charge of the Light Brigade. Ghost coming in and Emmett Dunn and... So what
Neil
have I done
Barham there, was he?
I'm not sure if Neil was there. Thank Christ he wasn't.
There wouldn't have been too many teammates, not many like him. He never handled them.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think the tribunal meeting lasted about 10 seconds, I think, KB.
Not guilty?
Not guilty?
Well, to use the racing parlance, if jockeys throw in frivolous protests,
Yeah.
they fine the jockeys.
Well, there
don't
you
they?
go.
They should have fined the umpires that day.
I reckon KB laid down.
There was no video in those days, no video.
You laid down, KB.
One short last answer. If you were 18 today, would you come back and start all over again?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely, Bob, yes.
You'd come straight back
It's a
in.
wonderful, wonderful year.
And how much would you ask for?
I'll probably play for the love of the game.
Good on you.
Val, you might play for nothing, but what about the day you were whacked by Robert Muir? I think he got 12 weeks.
Yes, well, that was quite an eventful day, actually, KB. Actually, I've seen it on video twice, I think, and every time I look at it, it's quite hilarious. He put on a show himself. He hit me, and then he hit Dooley, and he was about to hit Mike Dye, and I don't know. But,
You'd be
it was
mates,
quite
wouldn't you,
hilarious.
Val? You'd be mates.
Oh, we are. We were friends, yes.
He should have played rugby league. He would have got off. Yeah.
Val, thanks for joining us on Grumpy Old Men. It's great
Pleasure.
to catch up. 174 great games with St Kilda and Carlton, a couple of premierships, and obviously a very passionate Carlton person even today. It's been great to catch up again and relive some of those great memories.
Nice to have been here.
Yeah, good on you.
Val Perovic, of course, was our special guest on our first show, but coming up, another special guest, an old teammate of mine. He was pretty tough too.